Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to count down the 20 highest PSA 10 pop counted cards of all time across all the sports. And to get that data, I'm going to use gemrate.com. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. Absolutely fantastic resource. They provide all sorts of great data on pop counts and PSA grading trends. Not just PSA, all the grading companies, trends and really great website. But I did a video like this maybe 6 months ago or so. Maybe it was more like a year ago or so at this point. And similar type idea, looking at the highest pop counted cards of all time. And I was just really, really surprised with the results. I mean, it's not that the results were wildly different than what you might expect or be intuitively would think, but it's just I was surprised at how extreme it was. And so I wanted to sort of update that and take a look and then actually use that to draw an important conclusion about something which we'll talk about at the end. All right, so like I said, we're going to count down the 20 highest PSA 10 pop counted cards of all time, and we're going to run through these pretty quick. Number 20 is a 2019 Topps Chrome Fernando Tatis Jr. rookie, 12,700 plus. Number 19, 2020 Bowman Paper, Jason Dominguez, first Bowman card, 13,000 plus. Number 18, 2019 Panini Prizm Kobe White. Number 17, a 1989 Topps traded Ken Griffey Jr. rookie. Number 16, Bo Bichette's rookie from 2020 Topps. Number 15, 2019 Panini Prizm LeBron James base card, 13,537 PSA 10s exist as of the recording of this video. Number 14, also LeBron, 2018 Panini Revolution. The 2018 cards are his first years in a Laker uniform. Number 13 is a Zion Williamson, 2019 Panini Mosaic. Number 12, Kyle Lewis, 2020 Topps rookie. Number 11, 2020 Topps Yordan Alvarez, orange jersey rookie. And now into the top 10, a 2019 Topps Pete Alonso rookie. Number 9 is a 2020 Topps Chrome Lewis Robert rookie, 17,000 plus PSA 10s. Number 8, 2020 Topps Gavin Lux rookie. Number 7, another Lewis Robert. This is just the Topps base from 2020 Topps. Number 6 is 2018 Panini Prizm Luka Doncic rookie. Pop count was just short of 19,000 PSA 10s. This is the most valuable card in the top 20. Number 5, 2019 Topps Fernando Tatis. Again, we saw the Topps Chrome earlier, but this is the Topps base. Number 4 is our first card over 20,000. That's 2019 Panini Prizm Ja Morant rookie. Pop count of 21,476. Number 3, 2018 Topps Update Ronald Acuna rookie as the at-bat in blue jersey variation, which is the common variation. Number 2, from the same set, 2018 Topps Update Juan Soto rookie. Again, the standard batting variation. And the number 1 highest pop-counted PSA 10 card of all time is 2019 Panini Prizm Zion Williamson with a pop count of 22,061. That is as of the recording of this video. All right, just some initial observations. First thing is that there's only 2 sports represented in the top 20. It's all baseball and basketball. It has 13 baseball cards and 7 basketball cards. And the other thing that just really jumps out is that with one exception, every single card in the top 20 is ultra modern. 2018 to present. The only exception is the 89 Topps traded Ken Griffey Jr. Every other card on the top 20 is 2018 to present. The first time we would see a non-baseball or basketball card would actually be a golf card from 2001 Upper Deck Tiger Woods rookie. That would rank 22nd. And the first time we'd see a football card is 33rd. That was 1989 Topps traded Barry Sanders rookie. No hockey nor soccer card appears in the top 100. And, on the surface, these sort of observations might be what you would predict. Basketball and baseball dominating makes a lot of sense. Ultra-modern dominating makes a lot of sense, especially based on what we know of what's happened over the last few years with the 2020 and 2021 price boom and just the flood of orders that PSA and other companies received. And there's a whole bunch of new people entering the hobby and ripping wax and sending stuff off for grading. So, on the surface, all that stuff makes sense, and that's not really but what I remember from the first video just being so amazed by, and so on this video, I'm not that amazed by it because I know it from the first video, but, I've been in the hobby many, many years. I'm a collector, investor, dealer, hybrid, we'll say, and, the investing side of that, if you want to be an investor, you have to pay attention to pop counts. It's a very important part of investing, very important piece of the puzzle. So, I follow pop counts quite a bit, and I have for many, many years. And as someone who has followed pop counts for many years, these numbers are just ludicrous. 20,000 copies in a PSA 10. I mean, that would have been completely unheard of just a couple of years ago. Now, I don't mean like a couple of years ago it would have been 15,000. I mean, a couple of years ago, let's say early 2020, I would guess that the top, PSA 10 pop counted card would have been like under 5,000 and very, very, very few cards were in the multiple thousands. Now the hobby's much bigger today than it was in a few years ago in early 2020, let's say. So it makes sense that the pop counts would have all gone up, and we would see these increases. But this is extreme. I mean, the pop counts here are just way outpacing any sort of long-term growth in the hobby. And if you just consider, the supply and demand equation of how you determine what sets a card's value, the supply here is just overwhelming demand. Any sort of demand shifts in any of these players or cards, the supply is just overwhelming them, and these cards cannot sustain, have shown that they just cannot sustain their value, at least over the last year and a half. And that would, sort of be my guess to continue moving forward. And it's no secret that the hobby's been dropping quite a bit over the last year and a half. I mean, card prices are, way down, across the board for the most part. And I don't know how you would sort of measure that in one single number, or if that's even possible. But, maybe the hobby's down 40%, or I don't know, 50%, whatever the number would be. But I also think it's cards like these that make it seem a lot worse than it is. It's the really, really high pop count cards that just truly collapse when the hobby's on a downward swing. I mean, I have lots of cards in my collection and personal investment that have not lost value, basically held, or maybe just lost a little bit, or maybe even ticked up. But as a whole, it's not like some big scary thing. But if you look at the values of these cards with these crazy pop counts, it might freak you out, which is what we're gonna do right now. But I picked just a few to look at, but believe me when I say all 20 of these show similar type collapses in price. Okay, so let's start with the card that finished number 1. 2019 Panini Prizm Zion Williamson rookie in a 10. So if we go back to March of 2021, a little over a year and a half ago, this card was selling, $700 all day. Maybe even, examples of sales where that were even higher than that. And today the card sells for about $160, somewhere in that ballpark, as you can see from some recent sales. So that's about an 80% drop on the Zion Williamson. For the Juan Soto, the card that finished number 2, if you go back to March of 2021, looking at a card that's probably about $300, you could maybe even get more than that. Actually, based on these numbers here, you would probably get more than that on average. Today it sells for about $60, so again, that's about an 80% drop. The Ronald Acuna, very similar. If you go back to April of 2021, about a $300 card or so, and today the card sells for about $40. That's something like about an 85% drop. The Jean Morant, Jean Morant's been playing well this whole time. He's a Prizm rookie back in March of 2021, upper 300s, approaching a $400 card. And today this one's about $150. This is one of the least worst, if you can believe it. It's about a 60% drop or so, something like that. The Luka Doncic, which is, like I said, the most valuable card in the top 20 here, and it's one of the most iconic cards of the ultramodern era, but it's also one of the biggest price drops also. If you go back to 2020 in August, which was sort of one of the heights of his hype, this card was selling over $2,000, and today it's about a $350 card, we'll say. So that's over an 85% drop. Here's an extreme one: 2020 Topps Lewis Robert, PSA 10 is base card. Remember, the pop count on this thing is approaching 20,000. At the height of his hype back in September of 2020, this card was selling like $250 or so, maybe even more on average. And today the card is basically a $10 card. Over a 95% drop on Lewis Robert. And that's because supply has gone way up while demand has gone way down. This one's not very extreme, at least not compared to other ones on this list, but this was one where, when I did the last video, I had to do a double take. The 8th highest PSA 10 pop counted card in sports card history is a Gavin Lux card. That just did not compute with me back then. I mean, it still basically doesn't compute with me now, but if you watch my channel, you know that I do almost nothing with prospects or, unproven rookies. I basically just don't touch them. I've just found it to be a losing battle unless you're a flipper. It's just not something I tend to buy. But I'm aware of the prospects who are and the hype that goes around them. I remember the Lewis Robert buzz and the Bo Bichette buzz and the Kyle Lewis buzz and the Jason Dominguez buzz, and right now it's the Julio Rodriguez buzz. But I don't remember anything about Gavin Lux. I don't know what is he doing here in the top 10. But anyway, in 2021 March April, this card was about a $50 card. That was about the peak of this card. Never really got higher than that. So he clearly never had like a huge boom in hype. But today, you can pick it up for $10 or often less. So probably about an 80% drop or so. And I'm sure you're getting the idea by now. I'll just run through a couple more examples. One of the LeBrons, the Panini Revolution. In April, it peaked out about $80, $90, somewhere around there. And today it's maybe about a $20 card or so 75% drop. Doesn't just apply to the Ultra Modern. Its pop count applies to all cards. The Griffey Topps traded rookie from 1989 was going for around $350 or so, let's say, in February of 2021. Today it's a little over 100, so somewhere around a 70% drop, something like that. And last one I'll show is a pretty extreme example, and this kind of goes into the Gavin Lux category for me. I don't remember any Kobe White buzz, or maybe I just missed it, but he was a fairly high draft pick, 7th overall, but he wasn't crazy high, and I just don't remember there ever being like this period where there was a bunch of buzz around him. But like I said, I probably just missed it because he's in the top 20 for highest PSA 10 pop counted card in sports card history. In early 2021, this card was going for over $200 all day, and this one is just utterly, the bottom has fallen out. Today, a PSA 10 copy of his Prizm rookie can be had for about $5. That's something like a 98% drop on the Kobe White. But that's it. Although there's one more big picture point I want to make before I tell you to eat your vegetables, and that is this video may come across as like a doom and gloom, the hobby's collapsing type video, but the big picture point is actually kind of the opposite. And that is, all the cards we looked at here are down 70, 80, 90% or whatever it is, but the hobby as a whole isn't down that far, nowhere near that. But like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these cards I think are making it seem a lot worse than it is. And, these cards it's very predictable. It's going to happen in them long term because of the incredibly high pop count. Supply and demand, again, the supply side of the supply and demand equation is just so rigged in one direction that it almost doesn't matter what happens with the demand long term on cards with a pop count of 20,000. So these cards don't represent the hobby as a whole, but in my opinion, they do make things seem worse than they are. The hobby is going to have periods where it's going up in value and going down in value. But, understanding this pop count thing is, a good way to protect yourself from the down times. But that's it for real this time. Eat your vegetables. Thanks, everyone.